Well, great. Thanks everyone for joining our webinar about introducing edition layout today. Just a bit of housekeeping to start off with. This session is being recorded, so we'll be sharing a video link after the webinar. We have got some time reserved for Q&A at the end of the webinar, so you can submit any questions in the Q&A box in the kind of the Zoom interface. And we'll hopefully have some time to answer those questions at the end. So who have we got on the webinar today? I'm Ross Murphy. I'm the CEO of PageSuite. I'm here and part of my role is making sure PageSuite products and services fit client needs and future requirements. So I'll let my colleagues introduce themselves.
Hi there, I'm Nathan Parrott. I'm founder of PageSuite. I'm very much involved in what happens next at PageSuite in terms of new product initiatives.
Hello everyone, I'm Mark Godden, CTO at PageSuite. I look after the operational and technological stacks that power PageSuite and everything we're showing you today. And I look forward to answering any of your technical questions at the end.
Great, thanks guys. So yeah, the agenda. So quite straightforward. Some of you know who we are. We've got some non-PageSuite clients on the webinar as well. So we have a little piece about who we are. We'll talk about the digital transformation and how in particular the Feed Edition product has guided the auto layout product and the development of that. Introduce the Edition layout product, how that works, kind of discussing those opportunities for digital products, laying out pages, sections for print, and even personalized digital edition products as well. And then, as I mentioned, we'll have some time for some Q&A as well. So a bit about us, founded in 2006, privately owned, self-funded, so still very independent and innovative. We have an HQ in Ashford in the UK, which is just outside London. We also have an office in Pune in India as well. So across those two locations, we've got 120 staff. We provide 24/7 technical support, 365 days a year, and we have a worldwide client base across 6 continents. So just, I think the takeaway from this is, yeah, we've got clients all around the world, strong presence in North America, Europe. You can see some of the brand names there. And, you know, across all this kind of client work, we're actually, you know, to give you a size of scale, we're pushing 3 to 4 petabytes of content through our CDN on a monthly basis. So again, just as part of the review of who we are, let's have a quick look at our products. And try and give you some clarity there. So we have a web reader product, a web editions product, and we use that to present PDF and Feed Edition pages as either PDF or HTML pages now. We also have native apps, which has a live news section and also the ability to include that edition product. And we also include other rich content in there, video, podcasts, etc. For our customers who want to have their app development in-house or have a trusted third-party development partner already, we do provide an SDK with that edition module for them to drop into their iOS and Android projects. Still, as a company, we're still very much a software development house, as was our origin. So we create other products as well. Some customers we create TV apps across tvOS, Roku, Android TV, Samsung TV, and a few others. And certain customers want that all-in-one solution. So we provide websites as well with a WordPress front end. So the kind of digital transformation, the story so far that's leading into the whole auto layout piece. How have our products supported the digital transformation? So we've obviously the print replica was, you know, most customers started using the print replica as just a copy of the printed product. And that has kind of evolved to some customers using the print replica as for digital only days, as print days get dropped by our customers. We've then seen that evolve into PageSuite providing feed editions to replace PDF productions. So we create feeds into templates and create niche brands, sports editions, evening editions with a real print product look and feel. And that's kind of evolved now into also providing an output of responsive HTML editions and templates for digital only publication. So this feed edition product is crucial as the genesis really of the auto layout. So Mark, I think you're going to run through how the feed edition product works, so we get a nice concept of how that evolution has happened.
Yep, sure. So basically our systems use XML, JSON or RSS feeds from your CMS. It's kind of your main source for all article content like headlines, bylines, descriptions, images. This content is then processed and mapped into the flat plans that we show here, which kind of work as a blueprint for each edition. The flat plans kind of lay out the structure and the flow of the publication and help decide which templates to use. And the templates are basically there to style your content, giving it either a traditional newspaper feel or a modern responsive design. So this slide here is just showing you the two types of output that we can perform from our system. So on the left, you've got the more traditional replica newspaper look and feel that maybe your readers are more familiar with. And then on the right is the responsive style, designed more for viewing on things like tablets, smartphones, and desktops. Ross is now going to talk to you about some of the use cases that some of our publishers are already using this system for.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. So yeah, just quickly, so some of our customers are using the feed edition product, creating a print-like product to replace print. One of our customers, Australia, stopped printing some of their regional or suburban kind of publications. They still needed a paginated product for their online website subscription. With print deadlines moving earlier, other customers are inserting feed edition sections and pages at certain points within the e-edition. And we're also creating those brands. So you see on the right-hand side there, the feed edition products can create evening editions, special sections for elections and sports and other things like that. So introducing the edition layout. So what is the edition layout? We've kind of set the scene for the feed edition product and where that's come from. So the concept of the edition layout is it's a new AI-driven tool. It's designed to streamline the edition page layouts for publishers. We can use that edition layout to produce fully automated feed editions, catalogues, print-ready PDFs, and a personalised digital newspaper as well, which we're quite excited about. So we'll go on to that. So Mark's going to just run through how that kind of the new concept versus the feed edition hangs together.
Yes, so basically, as you can see in this slide, the AI part slots in. It's trained solely on your publication's layouts and styles. This isn't a generic model that we're using here, so that it conforms to your content and your style. This allows the system to analyze articles and pick up the most suitable templates. And what we're trying to do here is minimize the white space and maximize the content fit within those templates, along with the articles that have been selected. By automating tasks like selecting the templates, adjusting font styles, managing space in image placement, the AI kind of specifically reduces the amount of manual work involved in laying out the edition. But for longer articles, we can handle page jumps automatically, ensuring that the content flows without requiring any additional input from yourselves. This helps speed up edition creation by reducing the kind of repetitive tasks and freeing up time for your team to focus on fine-tuning and reviewing later on. I think Nathan's now going to go explain to you a bit more about how the templates work within the system.
So at the moment, when we have our templates, which are powering titles such as the Times of London and a lot of the McClatchy titles, we take a design and we hand code that design. So that requires quite a lot of back and forth with our customers to make sure that we've got the design to how it is actually meant to look like. So that was a challenge. And one of the things that we asked our team is to come up with a new way of doing this. So what you'll see here is a design tool. And it's at its simple here, we can actually create a brand new template. And we've got some predefined sizes already set up. So we can have a tabloid US, tabloid UK, for instance. And it's all based upon grids. So everything that we do has grids, columns and rows. And this bit here is really important. So we, by nature, have 72 DPI for sort of looking on the web. But one of the things that we have challenged our team to do is to actually come up with an output that actually is good enough to go to print. So therefore, we've introduced a 300 DPI option as well there. And one of the things that we can actually do is actually predefine and put a header across the top of the template. So what you'll see here is that we're just putting together a really simple template. It's going to have 3 articles in, and we're going to basically put that across the different columns that we have here and rows. So again, using the grid system and basically just building out those pages. And then once we've done that, what we'll actually do is drop in some articles into those containers and a very basic sort of look and feel. But what our system actually does is support style sheets. So you'll see on the right-hand side here, we have the ability to actually go in there and actually change all of the fonts, all of the sizes, all of the spacing between the words and the letters, etc. So I think from the point of view from this is just it's very basic of putting together a template. So what I'm going to show here is just editing a template. So this is straightforward on that side of things. So what we're going to do here is just select a template. And the first thing we're going to do is just change the number of columns that you'll see in an article. So you see I've switched that from 6 to 7. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to move that image. I don't like it in the center. So what I can actually do is change the number of columns that the image will go over and what column the actual image will start at, which is great. And we can also just change the font sizing here of this particular article as well. So again, I mentioned that you could use style sheets, but if you wanted to have the granular control that you can do that. And as you can see, we're just going to change it to a different couple of fonts. So let you know that we can upload fonts into your account and we can then utilize them. So what we would do is just make sure that you've got a license for that font. And this is probably the most important part of our system. It's the grow and shrink technology that we use for our templates. So one of the things that we are doing is I mentioned before, is using grids. And what we were trying to do here, and I think this demonstrates it quite nicely, is that you can actually take a template here and basically, because we're using grids, what we can actually do is have flexible sort of growing and shrinking. We can actually predefine what that growing and shrinking is going to be. So you'll see here, I've set this at 64%, but I can have that ranging anywhere between 56 and 70%. And you can actually customize this to your heart's content as well. So it basically allows completely flexible templates coming into the system here. And you can see here that I'm doing this on a horizontal line basis. I can also do this on a vertical point of view as well. So what we're doing here is starting to create more versions of this template. That's effectively, so one template with lots of different versions that are actually now being produced from that template. So this is a really important slide. So what I've showed you so far is actually creating a brand new template or us getting you to build the templates. But one of the things that we sort of spoke about as a team is, well, what about taking it to the next level? If you've got these templates that you've built up with the pages over the years and lots of PDF pages that your designers have put together, could we not use them, for instance, for the templates? So we tasked our team to come up with a way of doing that. So one of the first things that we did was we trained the model to recognize on the page what is a masthead and what is a folio and what is a promo area. And also took it to the next level and what is a UPC on the page, and also to have the ability to have a dynamic contents list. Because what we can do with that dynamics contents list is, as we're building out those pages, we can actually have that dynamically to be updated. And what we can actually do as part of this is recognize what is an article on the page. And what we can actually do is recognize what fonts are being used within this as well. So we're starting to put it into a grid. We can recognize how many columns are being used, and we can also recognize the font name and also what the font size is. So that gives us the ability to then import in that template. So I'm just going to show you an example of this. So you'll see here we've got a fictional title called The Star Dispatch. And what we're doing here is we're opening up this PDF. And you can see that what we've actually done here is we've broken it down into various elements of the page. So I'm just going to show that again. So all we do is open up the PDF page and it then populates the page. So we can go into that and we can change the font sizes. But as you can see, we picked up the font sizes automatically from the PDF. We've put it into a grid system. And in this example here, we're going to just show you very quickly just a bit of a grow and shrink that we've done just over the Trump story here. So again, using the predefined minimum, maximum, we're just going to change that. You can sort of see that we're starting to change the styling of it. So that's a really exciting part of our system.
Right. So this sounds really fantastic. Let's have a quick recap really before I think Mark kind of explains further how this hangs together. We've got a template design tool where you can create and edit versions of those templates. And we've got this grow shrink technology that's going to flex those templates vertically and horizontally to give different versions. And then we're also saying that we can upload pages from an existing brand, existing PDFs, pull out that metadata, create more templates that in turn grow and shrink. So let's consider kind of as a PageSuite customer or any customer that uploads a fair number of editions or PDFs with us, that, in essence, we've got an infinite number of templates. And that's going to become really important as we go on to creating an edition because, the AI kicks in and those more higher selection of templates is going to give a higher level of success. So Mark, have you got any kind of like context to that in terms of some of our customers who might have an archive?
Yeah, so let's use LA Times, who's one of our customers, as an example. So we've already got 5 years worth of content that we've got in our system. So that's about 1,500 front covers. And with the flexibility that Nathan's just demoed to you all of importing templates, those 1,500 covers could quite easily be adapted to almost infinite versions. By editing the template, you can change things like the fonts and the columns and the layouts and other design elements that gives you an easy start to customizing your editions while keeping the look and feel of your brand. Now I'm going to kind of move over to start talking about how you create an edition and schedule it within the current system. So as I said previously, our system basically works with JSON and XML feeds and RSS feeds from your CMS platforms. And as you can see in this screen here, we're mapping up the fields directly from your content items, so headlines, bylines, images, and descriptions, and where they appear in your feed. So they're ready to be used within the templates and the layouts. This mapping ensures that we map the correct elements within your feeds to the correct content when we put them within the templates and within the editions. And also, whenever these feeds are updated, whether it's new articles, edits, or any other changes that you may do, as soon as they're available within the feed, the system automatically reflects those updates. This makes managing dynamic content quite simple and minimizes the need for any manual adjustments that you may need to do. So this part of the system handles all the organizing and scheduling of flat plans for your editions. So feeds are basically organized into sections, which then are organized into flat plans, which are basically the layout for how the edition will be put together. You can set up schedules to run flat plans at specific times or on a recurring basis, and this automates the process, so you don't have to keep manually coming in here and processing an edition on different days. You can also publish those flat plans on a scheduled basis, meaning that your content goes live when you want it to go live. And the system also allows you to manage multiple schedules as well as configuring different flat plans for each day. So it kind of gives you a full flexibility for all your dynamic publishing requirements. I'm going to hand over to Nathan now, who's going to demo to you about how to create an edition with the power of AI.
So what we're going to do in this demo, and I think if we just go back a slide here, you can see that we've set up the flat plan, and you can see that we've got two sections, one for news and one for sport. And you can see that we've got a feed going into each one of those. That's important when I demonstrate the next step, which is actually creating the edition. So we have customers already using this portal. And if you look here, we've got a new option here. So we can still select a flat plan, but this is the brand new option that we have here, which is create with AI. So previously you would just select the flat plan, it would go off and it would actually just start to set up a basic edition. But this create with AI is a brand new option. And when you select that, there's two different ways to create an edition. And I'm going to demonstrate both of those different ways. So first of all, we can actually let the AI create the edition in its entirety without any impact or any input from anyone at all. Or alternatively, what we can actually do is we can give you what we believe are the best three options for each of the different pages. And then what you can do is you can say, I want to choose that one, or I want to make some modifications, and then I want to move on to the next page and the next page. So I'm going to show you both ways to do it, starting off with sort of giving you the choices of the best three. And then another part of our system is an area that some may choose to use or not. So it's the content manipulation. So what we do is we have two options here. We can either touch your content, and some publishers will not want to do that. And that is, for instance, rewriting the content if it's too long. So, for instance, if we have a story and we're trying to place that into the page and the content is too long to fit, even with the grow and shrink technology, one of the abilities that we have is to look at the content towards the end of the article and summarize it so that it fits. However, that isn't actually necessary. You don't have to do that. You can actually choose to not rewrite the content. What that will actually mean is that when we are selecting templates with particularly long stories, we'll probably use more double page spreads, because that gives us the ability to have double the amount of space with the grow and shrink. And that seems to, with the testing that we've done, take care of most use cases. So it's not a requirement to do. It just gives you a little bit more flexibility. But having said that, with the new way of importing in templates into the system and actually coming in from your PDFs, we feel quite confident that that's not going to be a deal breaker. So if you choose not to use that option, it's not going to really affect your the way that the edition's getting created. So I'm going to choose the ability to give me the best options here, and you can see that I've put together an edition, and then what happens is it creates the edition, and then we go from there. So in the next slide here, I'm going to show you how to create an edition manually. So in this particular example, you can see that we've got the two different sections here. So we've got the news and the sport. And what in this particular example that we're going to do, we're just going to move some of the stories around. We're not quite happy with the Diddy story at the start, and we're going to use that one parts of the UK for disruption after heavy snow. It's cold here at the moment. Or we can actually select different stories here. So in this example, I'm going to select the NHS story, and I'm going to move that to the top here. And as I said, you've got some control over that. And that becomes quite important later on down into the process here. And what we've also got, and I think this is really important here, is giving you the choices. So in this example here, we've got 3 different choices that we've selected for you. We've got that one, or this second and third one. But what we've also got here is the confidence scores, and this is important. So one of the things that we've done is we can actually give a confidence score of how close we believe that is to actually laying out that particular story onto the page. And the closer we get to the 100%, it's more confident that we are that is going to fit into that page. And if it's 0, then that's not going to work at all. And that might be because the content's too short, too long, etc. So we have kind of a confidence score within our system. And what I'm going to show you here is where we've created the edition on an automatic point of view. So you'll see here, based upon all of the different choices, we've put together all of these pages laid out between the news and the sport. And you can go into there and you can see that we've selected that particular story to fit into that area. And if we just go back a little bit on that slide, because I think that's important here, you can see that that content is automatically picked up that it should go into that article. So it's said, look, this is page 4. We've got the page jump going on here, and we feel very confident about that particular story in that particular template will fit into that area there. So one of the things he did mention was double page spreads. In our design tool, you can actually build out these double page spreads here. Exactly the same as what we discussed before, using the grid system, grow and shrink technology, but gives you much more of the space available to you. So you can, if we've got particularly long stories, we will utilize the double page spreads technology to bring those into play. And if you actually look at this particular example here, you can see that we have created these pages, but what if I want to make some alterations to it? Not change the stories or the order of the stories, I actually want to change the content. Well, you can actually go in, open up the story, and you can see this cricket example here in this cricket story. We can go into this and we can actually go into that story, look at the headline, actually make modifications to the headline. So just change the wording. You can see it updates across the screen, which is great. And also you can change, for instance, you might want to just slightly increase that font. So you've got some granular control that you can have off the back of that. And then publishing. So before I sort of publish this edition, a lot of our customers are using our way of publishing digital editions. And in that situation, it goes through multiple processes before it actually goes live to the public and live onto the CDN. We've changed all of that. with our new publishing system. And basically what we are confident now is that we can actually publish digital editions within 2 minutes. And this is no different, because what we're going to effectively do from this system here is we're going to turn them into PDFs. And that's why we go back to that we feel that these outputs could be good enough to go to print, because we're using the DPI and the automation that we have in play. But if I want to publish the edition, all you have to do is click to the top and publish the edition. But before that, I think I just want to touch on another area. You'll see at the bottom right, and I'm just going to go a little bit back on this. You'll see here that there's like a little banner, an AI banner. And what that indicates, because I've selected the option for AI, it tells you that we have altered the content for that particular page. So we will indicate to you when we've changed AI, and you can go into that and you can know exactly what's been changed onto that. So we'll never manipulate your content without your approval if you choose to use that option. So I think that's important. But what we're going to do here is just publish this edition and put it live. And then basically you'll get presented with a progress bar across the system here, starts the process of being created, and then the edition basically gets published, and then it becomes into your list of editions that are available to you. And then ultimately where it goes live. And I think this is our new reader, which I think we demonstrated to you on our last webinar. So this is our brand new reader. But this, in theory, everything that we've demonstrated to you could still go onto the existing reader. You don't have to be on the new reader in order to utilize this technology. It's just for this particular demonstration, we're going to be using the new reader. So by clicking through to this here, open up the edition, and you can see here, I've got a page jump. What we've done is we've worked out that the content ends there, and where it ends, we basically continue it on to the next story here. So we've jumped from that page to the next page with page jumps, and you can see that every story here has a page jump in. We know where the story starts and where the story ends, and you can see we're getting very close to getting it exactly with no white space. This example on the right shows there is a little bit of white space there, so we're still working just to refine that slightly more. But this example on the left-hand side shows that we've actually got it perfect with the page jump in as well. And you can see that all of the stories are laid out that's come from the feed. And what we've actually done is we've produced a 32-page, I believe it is, edition that's basically come from 2 feeds with various page jumps in. Not a big, huge range of templates. I think in this example, we only used 8 templates. But like one of the new technologies that we have about importing in templates, we're going to have a much broader range of templates available to us. Just want to touch on advertising. So a couple of different things that I want to talk about here. So where we are using the grow and shrink technology, we have got the ability to actually inject in print and digital advertising. So I think one of the things that I would like to see is from our system is the ability for us to actually integrate in with print advertising systems. So what we've done is the technology that we use for the Times of London, where we're using the print ads and automatically populating them, we've used the same sort of technology for this example here. So these could actually come directly from your print CMS. It could be a third-party print advertising agency or an API, or we can actually bring in digital adverts as well. They don't have to be print adverts. And this is something completely different. This is like a use case of what you could actually use. And this is a fictional advertiser here. And what we've got here is some products that actually come directly from a feed. And what we can actually do here is we can actually manipulate these content after it's come into a feed. So we can go into it and we can change the pricing of it. We can change the names of product as well after it's come through from the feed. And you can see in this particular example, we can also have a portrait and a landscape opportunity, which is great for your advertiser because you can turn around and say, well, actually, if you're viewing it on a desktop, we can actually make that advertising responsive, which is fantastic. We can move elements around the page, and then we can actually make a PDF page. And that PDF page that we've got here could actually be injected directly into one of your publications, even if you weren't using this to automate your print layout. You could actually use this solely for just creating advertisers through to your publication. Ross, I don't know if you want to just talk about the personalized editions.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So Yeah, already great stuff there. We spoke earlier on Nathan's mentioned about the new publish service being able to create those editions really quickly. So we could also, as Mark kind of showed, that because these editions are created from XML JSON feeds, we could take those feeds from a recommendation engine. So what that gives us the ability to do is with the really quick publishing, the auto layout opportunities, is that basically we could create a one-on-one personalized edition, which we're really excited about. So we're really looking into that, and we're really developing that concept. Or that personalization could be more of a cohort of users, more looking at segmented content. So yeah, that's kind of like what's coming next with this product. And I think it just goes to show that, although we're talking about, we're really excited about being able to lay out print products, it's still very relevant in the kind of digital space. So we've kind of kept on time, which is really good. So to have a quick recap now about really what we think this tool set you can achieve with that. So just touched. We started off with talking about the feed edition product. So our feed edition product, it's got a really great tool set, but it still needs some potential intervention for the more complex templates. So this tool set should be able to lay out a fully automated feed edition. So that's a real bonus for our customers who are already using that product, and this solution will be coming in 2025. We'll be able to create print-ready PDF pages, sections. It may well be that this is an editorial workflow that might just be for one section that you apply to this rather than a full edition. But again, we're exploring those opportunities with our customers. We just touched on the catalog pages, different types of advertising opportunities there, and also the personalized edition. So where are we now? Well, we're looking for launch partners to help us drive this product forward. Some of our existing customers have already registered an interest, and we'll be working with you guys to develop this product further. But if there is anyone who is interested in this kind of solution, has been impressed with what they've seen today, then please reach out. We'll try to keep it to half an hour. As always, we've crammed a hell of a lot in. So hopefully we've got across the main points, but there's a lot more to it than we've explained.
I think from our point of view, I think one of the things that we're looking for with launch partners is there might be certain things that we haven't thought about, or there might be certain use cases that we haven't thought about. So the more input that we can have here, the better we can make the product. Because when you partner with PageSuite, we're trying to get you to think about the future as well. It's not just putting your PDFs up there and getting them rendered and out to the public. We want to, what else can we do and help you with your digital transformation journey? So that's really important for us. The more feedback, the better we can make this product. We're really excited about it.
Great. So great. We're going to move on to some QA. It's got some questions that have come in. So first one is about the AI, and how does the AI handle image silhouettes and text wraparounds, which I presume is wraparound images and things like that. I don't know, Nathan, Mark, have we got a point of view on that?
Yeah, so in terms of wraparound, so one of the things that we can do is do things like pull quotes. So pull quotes is a great example of making that so that the content will wrap around the pull quote. So we can also do the same with images as well. So what we're doing is we're releasing more and more options. So pull quotes is one of the first things that we're going to release, and then we're also looking at things such as embeds as well with X and in Instagram. So those embeds and what we can actually do with that content as well. So yes, in answer to your question, we plan to bring that feature across.
Great. Thanks, Nathan. I've got a question here, which is about grow and shrink technology. And I'll read out the question, and maybe you guys can help translate this. So does the grow and shrink technology, is it able to adjust the format of the text to fit the template? What if I want to adapt the content itself to a print-like language length from a digital article? So does that resonate with you, Nathan, Mark, or should we just cover the growth shrink technology and how that kind of...
Yeah, I can cover the grow and shrink technology. So in terms of how the grow and shrink technology works, we can adjust the text in terms of the template and make that grow and shrink on a horizontal and vertical point of view. But when I was demonstrating that part of it, one of the things that we can also do is adjust the font. And we can also target the number of headline lines that we want the font to go on, whether that's actually headline lines or whether that's the number of body lines. So again, keeping to the grid system. So we can grow and shrink the headlines for it to basically hit a certain point. And in terms of the description, that can also grow and shrink. And there's sort of manipulation ways that we can do that. So that could be done by letter spacing, or that could be done by word spacing. And again, we can have that as parameters that you set that will basically do that in order to fit that content. So there's lots of different tricks and that we have up our sleeve to basically ensure that when we're automating that, we are getting it to fit into the page.
Great, yeah, good answer. So I think definitely we can take the source can be from digital articles. That's the important thing. It's just the feed that drives those the whole platform. Great. So next question. Thanks for these questions, by the way. They keep coming in, and they're really useful. Can we rewrite the content feature, the rewrite content feature to follow our editorial guidelines? So I guess that is a question about that rewriting or the trimming AI. What options are there now or in the future to integrate with different models or different AI versions, I guess?
So
Yeah.
I think me and Mark can both answer this part of it. Do you want to start, Mark, and then I can?
Well, I was going to actually answer two questions in one. I noticed there was another one about not allowing my content to be shared with others. So just to kind of give you a bit of background, the rewriting of content is basically being powered by ChatGPT. So by default, obviously, they don't share any of their or train their model using your content. And for
So
business,
just to touch on that point, we have our own PageSpeed account that we're using out for default, which doesn't allow for training. If you were to use the standard one, then it would be retraining the content. So just to touch on that point, but you go on, I'll let you continue.
you can alternatively use your own ChatGPT account where you can opt out of it. And you may not realize, but there's also a zero retention policy that you can request through ChatGPT under your own account, which stops them from holding that content around. As for kind of following your editorial guidelines, that's something that we could probably pre-add to the request to ChatGPT before we ask it to rewrite the content. So we can give it some parameters to work within to try and keep it within your editorial guidelines, whatever they may be.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Okay, now feeding to a question about advertising. Can you automatically build pages around uneven ad stacks, both iterate and modular? So at the moment, only seeing even ad stacks so far.
Yep. So that again is something that we can certainly look at putting in within the templates. So we can do inch rates. So we can basically have a single column or multiple columns, however you want to kind of define that. Modular wise, again, that would just be a predefined set of columns that we're saying this area should be used for advertising. So that could be a quarter page, half page, and uneven ad stacks. Yes. So what our AI kind of does is once it's placed the articles, it will try and find good areas of placing adverts. So as long as the adverts kind of fit those leftover areas, we can then slot those in to achieve the uneven ad stacks.
Great, thanks, Mark. Okay, next question. So do you at RE jump pages, do you automatically set story overflow that can't fit in the grow shrink parameters to a specific jump page, or does it go to a queue that you place on the pages? Maybe we just answer that question first. There's a second part to that.
So what we do is when we're building out the page, we have our source of articles and then we have the page jump articles. So what we do is we start to place the articles that have come directly from the feed, and then the articles that get left over basically get put into another bank of articles. And then what we do is we're reading through that different page and that template. And whilst we're trying to place the story, we'll look at our overflow or page jump articles. And then from the back of that, what we can actually then do is place those articles into those areas. So initially, what we're trying to do is we will always sort of read the order of articles that come directly from your feed, place that articles as we get them. But with the overflow, we will try our very best to look at what is the overflow, what's the space available, probably very similar to what you would do in your workflow, to see where that would actually then, where we would actually place those remaining articles or page jump articles, as we call them. Have you got anything to add to that, Mark?
No.
No? Okay.
Right, I think we've kind of covered that. I mean, I think what we might do is reach out directly to a few of you who have answered questions with a bit more detail, so we can always converse that way as well.
I also just I just want to touch on something else as well. I'm more than happy to have conversations with if anyone wants to have a one-to-one session. I'm more than happy to jump on, do a presentation to anyone from the team, and we can sort of take a more deep dive into the technology. Because, like I said at the very start, a lot of this has come from our experience of working in the industry, and we are all ears to ideas about, what could we do about this and what could we do about that. Because I'm pretty certain with a brand new product, we haven't thought of everything. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to help you on your journey for digital transformation. So it's all about trying to automate things as much as possible, which is basically our mission statement.
Great, thanks, Nathan. Right, okay, that's lots of questions here, so we'll try and get through them. Please stay with us if you can. I think we've covered this. I'm not keen on my content being used to train our models that are being used by the publishers. Yes, so we do restrict that to either your own account or a separate area within the PageSuite infrastructure. So that shouldn't be an issue. One of the things you mentioned was content manipulation, and you mentioned that there would be a different experience. What would that be, Nathan, Mark?
So I think in terms of, I mentioned beforehand that the different experience probably would probably use more double page spreads. And I can see that one of the questions here about double page spreads is, can you ensure that they won't start, for instance, on the right-hand page? Of course, we would only ever start double page spreads on a even page number, i.e. on the left-hand side. But all you probably would see is more double page spreads being used if the content stories is particularly long. Another option that we potentially could do here is actually work with you and actually see what other feed that could come out of your CMS. So it might be that you have two different versions of that story, a long form and a short form. So we could potentially look to see whether or not we could use those two different versions of it as well. And I just want to touch on AI very quickly. I noticed a sort of common theme about using accounts, and when it comes to the actual templates and when we're actually training those templates, every customer would have their own model. So we would never have another model being used by another customer. And as Mark sort of mentioned before, when we're using OpenAI's API, we can use your own OpenAI API as well. So Mark mentioned retention rates. You don't have to use the PageSuite OpenAI account. We will give you the ability to actually go straight directly into your own OpenAI account. So you keep control of all AI. It will not be reused with other customers.
Great, thanks. So a question here, what about wire feeds? Do you bring in AP, I guess Associated Press and other feeds? If so, can you use those to fill out the page, and what kind of small existing holes that may need house ads or info to fill the page? Is that accessible in the system? Yes, I mean, feeds can be mapped. We could take external feeds from your editorial workflow in to create that. And I guess, Nathan, Mark, that infilling of that white space left by ads is kind of something we're doing with the Times of London in their feed edition product at the moment. So that could be extended, I presume, to this.
That's correct. Yeah. So with those feeds, with those external feeds, you might actually, you could actually probably take it to the next level if you wanted to. You could use them, and basically, when we're talking about a whole feed edition system, we're talking about how we take a snapshot of those feeds at that current time. But you could do with wire feeds, you could actually have live news actually on your page as well. So there's nothing to stop you from doing that, which is updated live at that point in time. So it doesn't have to be a snapshot. But in answer to your question, Ross, we can take them and feed them directly into our system and map them up. And in terms of ad inventory, we can actually then put those house ads and we basically make those available as two separate feeds, one with your real adverts and then two with your house ads.
Great, thanks for that. Question about a lot of newspaper examples. Can we make magazines as well?
Absolutely. I think the only limitations really come down to the designs. As we're importing in, and we're doing quite a lot of work with magazines at the moment about how we take InDesign files as well. So one of the things that we're doing at the moment is how we can import those templates through as well. So there's nothing to stop us from exploring what we can do on magazines and supplements and special sections, etc. And special sections is something that's grown significantly in our replica business. More and more publishers are doing special sections.
Great, thanks for that. Again, I'm going to try and keep a pace up with these questions because there's quite a few. Are you able to stop double page spreads appearing on the right-hand pages, e.g.
Yep.
3 and 5?
Yep, definitely. We would never place a double page spread on the right hand side. It would always be placed on an even page number, i.e. the left hand side.
So, question about when will this be available for demos? As Nathan mentioned, we're happy to kind of show this platform. We're going into beta at the end of this year, very shortly. So in 2025 will definitely be when we'll be onboarding, hopefully, customers into this platform. Another question, or a question really about AI. Thank you very much. Congratulations on this amazing product. As an AI enthusiast, I'm curious to learn about the AI architecture powering it. Could you share some insights into the technology and algorithms behind this innovative solution? So any background on the AI that you're willing to share, we can share?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm more than happy to have conversations with other people that have got exciting ideas to share as well. So yeah, just reach out to me.
I think that probably best in a one-on-one, but we can reach out. Whoever asked that question, we'll have your details, and we can reach out to you and happily have that conversation. Actually, we've covered this off. Actually, another question saying any plans to integrate ad CMS systems to pull in files. The answer is yes. We're already doing that with News UK in their Feed Edition app. So yeah, we can work with obviously PageSuite we have to integrate with our customer workflows. And I don't know if you've got any comments on that, Nathan, Mark, because I think there might be a vendor that we integrate with to do that already.
Yeah, the vendor we integrated with is called IX. So we can integrate with other vendors. We just kind of need to know what that format of the ads are and how we can access that to import that into the system and when.
Right, thanks. Another question about periodical magazines being more complex in layout. So yeah, I think we as we already covered that, we're definitely going to be exploring that. We definitely feel we can cover magazines as well.
I think actually one of the really good use cases of this for people that want to start to explore this would be what can you do with special supplements and special editions. So I think that would be an area of interest that we probably would start with a lot of publishers in to automate some of those. Could be election specials, or it could be sports specials, and NFL, NHL. So loads of different ways to actually use this technology. It doesn't have to be the actual main edition. It can just be special sections.
Great, thanks. There's a question here about, is there a way to exactly highlight the parts of the text that have been altered by the AI?
Yeah. So when you, we're just about to put that actually in at the moment. So you'll see that we already put a little banner at the bottom right of the page. What you'll actually do is you'll be able to select that page and it will actually show you the content before we manipulated it and the content afterwards, and exactly do a comparison between what we've changed so that you can actually have a real granular control as to see what we've changed. And we're going to, if that was of interest, and a lot of this comes down to how publishers are using the system, we could actually look at other areas where we could actually manipulate and summarize the content as well. So whether or not that actually comes from potentially altering headlines, or it could be that we're altering image captions, etc. But if there's no appetite at all to manipulate content, then we obviously won't continue to work and enhance that area. But if there is an appetite, then we certainly would do. And I think with AI, I think the most important thing is transparency, in my opinion. After going to quite a lot of INMA events and seeing what other publishers are doing and what they're speaking about, I think never try and trick a user of your publication. And I think that's critical for us. And do exactly the same where we tell you exactly what's been changed.
Great, thanks, Nathan. So another question here. Rather than just using PDFs, quite an interesting one, this one. Rather than just using PDFs as the training material for the AI model, is it also possible to enrich the training material with our own tags, i.e. if our content already contains specific blocks of text images and those text and images are tagged and annotated, can we use those tags and annotations as training data?
Yeah. Want to go for that one, Mark?
100%, we can definitely use that. That in essence is kind of what we're doing behind the scenes anyway, when we're looking at your PDFs, trying to break it down into, like you say, the blocks of text and images. So it just speeds up that training process. And if you've got a large data set of that and we can work with it and access it, then yeah, there's no reason why we can't look at that.
Great, thanks, Mark. Got a question about pricing here. I own several small weekly newspapers. Finding staff to design pages has become difficult. How much will this feature cost per newspaper? We are releasing the pricing in 2025. It will be a license fee, the same kind of format and model that we have across other PageSuite products. So we'll be releasing that, but obviously, be based on usage. So for weekly newspapers, that will be no doubt a lower license fee than running a full daily publication. So as always, we try and make sure we get the ROI on our pricing versus the development and effort that we've put in on our side. So hopefully, we'll be sensitive to reaching the right price point. Great, another question. Can you use AI or sync with another AI source to write just headlines, or give 3 options, say, to automatically fit the space available?
Absolutely, we can extend that part of it. So everything that we've done, we've made it modular. So in terms of the headline, we could interface in that. We could basically post off to a particular URL. That could be your own AI model as well. It doesn't have to be an external third party. And then we can actually give you those choices back. If there's interest in doing something like that, we certainly will push that out. But we've made everything like we've done with the choices. We've made everything as a to give you as much control as possible if you want to have that control. If you just want to fire and forget, you can also do that as well. But I think giving you the options, or hopefully finding a happy medium between the two, would be the way forward.
Great, thanks, Nathan. Another question about pricing. I've just covered that. So for personalized editions, how does the system learn about the specific user's behavior and adjust experience over time? So at the moment, the concept is that we're going to integrate with recommendation engines. So, most customers, or a lot of customers, already using or getting into using those recommendation engines on their website. So we would see us for the short term anyway, integrating with other third-party vendors that provide that service. Or if you have anything built in-house, we could integrate that. All we need is a feed that would contain that personalized version, that personalized snapshot. I mean, Nathan, Mark, you got anything you want to add to that?
No, I think the only thing I would say is that in terms of one of the things that we talked about is having a one-to-one basis with personalization engines. We can certainly do that as well. With how we've kind of built this is to make it as fast as possible. So in theory, you could keep your main publication and then you could have a my version of that, which is only appropriate to the stories that user is interested in. So that would just be on a per user querying against the recommendation engine and then pulling off the feeds off the back of that, and then using AI to create the edition of those feeds. That's it in the most simplest form. But yes, you can certainly bring in the personalization engines into this. And all it is basically just bringing in a feed. Where previously we're taking feeds directly from the CMS, all we would do here is take feeds directly from the personalization engine.
Right. Thanks for that. Another question. Yes, there will be a recording, so we'll follow that. Or you'll get a follow-up with the copy of this recording. The product is all our infrastructure is run in the cloud. For the
we're AWS. We're an AWS shop, so everything that we do everything on AWS.
Right, here's an interesting one. Can you open pages in InDesign or other layout tools for reviewing or fine-tuning?
So
go on, Mark, that's your...
I was going to say, well, we don't output in an InDesign format. Obviously, when we output them to the print-ready PDFs, you can then import that to make your changes. And then within the portal, you can replace those particular PDF pages, either pre or post publishing. One thing that we probably didn't point out is that the publishing service can also republish an edition with your changes after you've made them within the portal. So things like changing PDF pages, articles, all of that can also be done post the publishing of that particular edition and then pushed back out to your users as an updated version.
And we're doing quite a lot of stuff with InDesign at the moment. So watch your space to see about how we can actually interface in with InDesign files.
Great, thanks, guys. Can you spell out the AI enhancements once more, please? Trying to understand these AI enhancements separately from your regular product enhancements. Thanks.
So with our regular product that we have at the moment, we're asking you to supply the PDF pages, and then you FTP them up to us, and they get read in, and we basically produce the digital edition, and we either use XML JSON files to interact with the articles, or we will extract them using our article extraction team, in-house team. In this particular example, we're using feeds in its entirety to create those editions. Now, you could mix and match. You could have some pages that are PDF that you've already provided, and some pages that are coming directly from the feeds, which is what some publishers are doing. But the AI part of it is, there's two parts to it really. AI is what templates are we going to use, and learning about what templates work with the particular content. And then the second part of AI is the manipulation of the content. Do we want to summarize it? Do we want to change the headlines? Do we want to change image captions, etc.? That's where the second part of the AI comes in, and that's the more contentious area. That's the part where an editor has put together a particular article, or a reporter has, and they are having that content changed or manipulated. And I think that's the area that needs a little bit more thought process on, and we've kind of thought about that as we've been building this. But the first part of the AI is actually there to help you and benefit you, as opposed to actually changing the actual content. So it's only the second part that actually manipulates and changes the content. The first part is just the design process.
Great, thanks. And this is the final question. Will there be an opportunity to try to see how it works with our individual papers prior to committing to a contract? Well, there's no doubt that there would be some methods for new customers to, test the fit for this product as we have with some of our other products. The other point would be, if you're serious, get in contact, talk about, see if there's any opportunities to be a part of the launch partner / lighthouse clients that we start to work with towards the end of this year and beginning of next year. We'll happily see how we can work. And actually, we've just had another question pop in. How about accessibility with PDFs and web editions, and how are tables handled?
So in terms of the tables, what we do with the tables is we can actually separate them out. So as we're manipulating the content, we can do things such as pull out the Twitter embeds, or not Twitter anymore, X embeds, Instagram embeds. We could also have some customers that have interactive sort of content, so we can actually pull that part of those areas out. So when it comes to tables and charts, etc., what we would do is we would start to work with you to recognize what is likely to be a table as part of your feeds, and then pull them out and then present that an alternative source. So that might be an image pop-up, or that might be a separate part of the page as part of the template that shows the table, etc. So we do quite a lot of work on actually manipulating the content, not in terms of changing it, but pulling certain parts of it out and how we display it. In terms of accessibility, actually, because we are actually making these into PDF pages, what we can actually do is we can ensure that the accessibility is taken care of at the same time. So we've got much more control of the PDFs that we spit out to the system, and therefore that helps with screen readers, because we're actually providing metadata about those pages to the screen readers. So it's definitely something that we've thought about, and make sure that we are in compliance with that.
I think it's important to point out that these PDFs that we're generating, they're not like PDFs with just an image embedded in them. They are PDFs which are outputted using the actual fonts and actual vector text. So it's not like we're taking a screenshot and placing it in, which would not be very accessible. These are actually PDFs that have the text in them.
Yeah, and I guess also on the table, you spoke, Nathan, didn't you, about that contents list being dynamic and things like that. So, we can work with publishers creating those kind of, I guess those different kind of artifacts that they might want on a page, even if that was going to print.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's all about learning about the content that we are being provided with. So if you're providing us a set XML or JSON feed that's coming through to our system, we will start to know about what is a table and start to understand a lot of your styling within that. So you might have inline styles that define what a table is. We'll start to recognize that, and that's how we'll extract it out. Or it could be a class name that you provide that shows us that it's a table. So we'll also work with that as well.
Great. That was the last question. Exactly an hour or so. So thank you so much to everybody who's joined. Thanks to Nathan and Mark. You will get a recording, and I think, Nathan, next slide, there might be an email address. I think it's hello@PageSuite. Yeah, hello@pagesuite.com. Any questions that you have, you want to reach out, please use that email address and we'll get back to you. So thanks once again. It's been a pleasure, and we will be seeing you soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.